Hey guys, it's Front Runner Football Podcast, and as we do during the lockdown, we try to get you all sorts of interesting bits of information and news, and also catch up with players that we know as the Front Runner Football family. And that brings us to my guest today, one Marshal Munetsi, who joins me from France, where he's also in lockdown. Of course, you'll remember that Europe was pretty much the epicenter after the East in terms of the coronavirus. And I'm sure, Marshall, you'll be the first to tell me that you guys felt it very early on that something isn't right, that this corona is going to, take hold more than people would have expected. Thank you so much for joining me. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Kamza. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and thank you guys for inviting me also.
So tell us, how is life in France under these difficult circumstances?
Life has been hectic, since last month when we got the news that there's been a lot of cases that have been coming up, a lot of people being rushed to the hospital. At first, we didn't really take it seriously, it's just a normal symptoms of flu and it will go away, But when we tried to be more precautious, the damage had already been done, when we started to practice isolation. So it has been very difficult times. A lot of lives have been lost through this moment, but we just hope and pray that everything can get back to normal as soon as possible.
Okay, so just tell us a bit about your routine. What have you been up to? Obviously, as a footballer, it's about staying healthy. It's about making the right decisions as to what you eat. I'm guessing it's not too different from what you would do during the regular season, except now there's just no football to do it for.
Yes, exactly. The technical team and the physical team, they've been trying to help us to do our routine training sessions at home, sometimes with the ball and without the ball. And our dietitian also helps us to make sure that we eat the right food. We eat a lot of veggies to make sure that we don't gain a lot of weight, because it can affect us once the season resumes. You can get a lot of injuries. So our routine has been basically normal. We try to train in the morning. We have some Zoom meeting, video training sessions also, when they inspect on us, how we are training, how we are feeling and everything. But everything has been normal, besides that we can't go out to the training center or to do some of the normal things that we've been used to doing.
So are you preparing for a particular opponent, or is it just more about mentally and physically being ready for whatever happens?
Yes, for now, we're just waiting, because we're not sure when we will resume training or when the season is going to resume, or what is going to be happening now, if the season is going to end or not. So we just have to be prepared for everything. If they say we have to continue playing, we must be fit. If they say we're not going to finish this season, then we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that we prepare for the next season. So for now, it's just for us to be mentally and physically and emotionally stable, to make sure that we are in the right space of mind. So we try as much as possible to communicate with our families and friends, and also our teammates, to know how they're doing in this difficult time.
Okay, no, great. Well, let's rewind and go back before COVID-19. I mean, it was a big move when we heard that you were going into France. You had already been doing really well at Orlando Pirates, and part of a team that was, some will believe, close, but just not good enough to get to that title win. You moved to France with all that behind you. You've got this nature of a champion cultivated in you. How did that then help acclimatize to France?
At first, I remember when I was still at Pirates, once we finished the season, because when I joined Pirates, I had a chat with the chairman, Dr. Ivan Koza, and we spoke about my future regarding me staying at Pirates and me moving to Europe one day. So he said to me that as long as there's a possibility and there's a good offer for them, they're not going to deny me the opportunity to go and enhance my future and my career in Europe. So when I left Pirates, obviously I wanted to win something with the team. We had been doing well for, I think, 2 seasons under Coach Mitchell. So it was very disappointing for me to leave Pirates without winning something. But then when the call came from the chairman's office to say that there's been some offers that have been there, so I have to come there, and then we talk about it. And he helped me to make the right decision also, and to move to Europe. So moving there, it was not easy for me, having been playing only in South Africa. Now you get to meet some of the big name players in the world that are playing in the Ligue 1. So as a player, as a human being, and for me also as a Christian, I try as much as possible to motivate myself, to make sure that I acquire my dreams. Be it so it might be difficult situations coming here, different facilities, different weather, different people, different language, different food also. It's very difficult sometimes when you move, especially alone to a different country.
Yeah.
But with the help of the team, that they are like a family, they try as much as possible to help you adjust to the new environments. So it was not easy at first, but as time went on, even with the cold winters, because it's very cold when it's winter here.
Sure.
I was able to manage and to stabilize life here in France.
Okay, I mean, let's talk about that because I mean, I'm looking at you're still fairly young. Was there a window of opportunity as far in your mind for you to make the European move? Because it would look like you had the perfect timing, considering your age, that your best years are still ahead of you. You're getting all this experience in the top league. How critical was it that you left when you left?
Yeah, sometimes it has to do with the people that manage you, the people that are around you. They have to know the exact time in the market to take you to Europe, because sometimes you can't just rush to go to Europe and then the next thing you come back again. You have to be mentally, physically, technically ready to take that big challenge. So playing for Pirates, it played a huge role in my career, because Pirates is a rich team. There's a lot of pressure for you each and every game. So I think also the people that were managing me and the Orlando Pirates Football Club, because we felt at that time that I was ready. Because before I would have said I was ready just for the sake of just going to play in Europe, but I wasn't.
Right.
But then having to have the experience to play in the Absa Premier League, it helped me to shape my experience, and also playing for my country. It helped a lot to speak to people who have been playing in Europe. They told me how things run here, because they're slightly different to how things are done in South Africa.
What has been the biggest difference in your mind? Or some of them?
First
I'm
of
sure
all,
it's more than one.
Yeah. First of all, the first one was language, the language barrier. You don't communicate to other players as much as you have been doing in South Africa, even when you're playing. The second one is also when it comes to the weather. When it's summer, it's okay, but when it's winter, it's very different.
Okay.
So I think those were the two major things that I had to adjust to very quickly.
Okay, and then in terms of on a scale of 1 to 10, are you fully adjusted? Are there still things that are taking some time getting used to? The language for one, how's your French?
Yeah, my French now, it's not good, but it's there.
You can communicate on the pitch.
No, I do more of the listening.
Oh, you do more of the listening. That's how you learn, I guess, right? That's how you learn. And then you speak about the weather. It's great in summer. European summers are famous. Winter, I do not envy you at all. But besides the weather, what do you miss about South Africa? You spoke about the weather. You spoke about the ease of communication with your teammates. What are some of the other things that stand out for you?
For me, the football here is also very different, because in South Africa, the football is slow. There's a lot of, they call it sugar, you move the ball very slow. But here it's more about one touch, two touch. So it's more about technical and tactical abilities to make sure that the ball moves faster. It's like I remember when we played Paris. First 10 minutes, you would feel like you have played 45 minutes, because the ball is moving fast. You're doing more of the marking, because those guys, they are technically gifted and tactically intelligent too. So it was very difficult for me to handle the situation, especially in the first 10 minutes. As compared to South Africa, South African games, the tempo starts very slow and then it goes up as the game goes on. Maybe you are losing 1-0, you need to score in the second half. But here, when you start from the first whistle, the tempo is already high. So it's something that you have to adjust to very quickly. And you have to make sure that your fitness is up there also at the toppest level.
Okay. No, that's interesting. And then speaking about the time at Pirates, I mean, it seems like you had a very good relationship with the chairman, got so close with Coach Mitchell. How would you characterize your time at Pirates? Would you say that was your foundational launch pad as far as the tactical acumen you speak about? Fitness and physicality, you can always train your body. But what do you think that you learned at Pirates that helped you say, I know what that is from your time at Pirates in France?
I think for me, it was a blessing also to have Coach Mitchell, because he's been someone who has been working a lot around Africa and is coming from Europe. Right. So he used to tell me that, remember, you must listen to me, my friend. I coached Nemanja Vidic, So he used to tell us this story about Vidic, that you have to listen to what I'm saying, because I've coached some of the best players on the continent. So then having been around him, and he's like a person who talks to you more about football, even until now, we always keep in touch. So he helped me to acclimatize, to adjust to the football type. Because if you check how we were playing at Paris, We had more position, we had more attacking, we had more chances created in a game, more position. So those things, it's the same when you want to play here. We have to learn how to play with the ball, without the ball also. So it was a blessing for me to be coached by him and Coach Rolani.
Okay, no, that sounds great. I mean, speaking of Coach Micho, I mean, he essentially had the opportunity to become a legend at Orlando Pirates. Some would argue that he left a little too early to go to Egypt. But, you know, having played under Kiel, Yonavet, and then Micho comes in, things change. You guys are second in the second season. What was the biggest change that Micho brought around? I mean, he looks like a natural winner. He looks like someone who understands what it takes to get results. Was that it? Was it just him transplanting his thoughts into you guys?
Yes, exactly. I think he also managed to, by the help of the administration, to acquire players that suited this type of play. And he also brought the belief that we are Pirates. We are one of the best teams on the continent, not if the best team. So he brought that belief to the players that no one can beat us. So we spent more time in training sessions. You know, we would go there maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, then you leave maybe around 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So it shows that we are putting in a lot of work, not only on the field, but off the field, to make sure that we stay as close as possible to each other. You can have a personal relationship with some of the players. So once you have that family thing, it helps you even when you play games, that you fight for each other. You make sure that you do your best to represent the great club of Orlando Pirates. So he brought that belief to the team that we can do everything. As you saw what happened in those 2 seasons, we were trying our best to win the league, but unfortunately, it didn't happen so.
You speak about putting in extra work off the pitch. How frustrating is it as a player? I mean, as an aside, that, you know, sometimes the public or people who watch football don't understand what goes into training, and that some of the decisions that a coach makes that they don't understand are based on what a coach sees in training.
Because sometimes these days there's tactics, and I know one person who was very good at that. It's Coach Rolani Mkwena. He's very good at analyzing a team. So sometimes you have to get the right pass, the right long ball, the right passing lanes, you know. So sometimes you have to take extra times at training to make sure that you watch the opponents, how they play. You look at their weaknesses. So that week, you are not only working on your strengths, but you are working to utilize the advantage that you have of knowing the opponent's weaknesses. So let's say you know that they are right back or left back. They like to go forward a lot. You make sure that day you work more on dodging of the offside to make sure that Lodge stays on the left wing, Pule stays on the right wing. Whenever you get the ball, you just have to get the right pass to Pule. And I remember when we played Kaizer Chiefs at Moses Mabhida, there's a goal that we scored, the first goal that we scored when Jackson Mabogane got the ball and then quickly put it on a counter for Pule, and then the next thing Pule gives Lodge and it's a goal. So those are the things that you take so many hours of training trying to perfect. And when it happens in the game, everyone is happy, but they don't really know that we looked to exploit those weaknesses that they have.
Okay, no, that's great. That's some awesome insight. I mean, the season before you left, Pirates came second. You lost by 2 points, and it must have really stung. How was that title race? I mean, were there moments where, you know, you thought we have it in the bag? When was the first moment when you realized we might not have it in the bag? How was that run-in? Because Wits were also in the mix against what is a quality Sundown side who have just continued with their dominance.
Yeah, because from the first season we finished second, we knew that we had to start very well in the next season that was coming up. But we didn't really start well also in that season. But we did well in the second half to make sure that we climbed as high as possible. Right. But I felt that after the Cape Town City game, it was very crucial for us because it had been a while since we won in Cape Town. So we knew that if we had to get a point or a win in Cape Town, we had the league. Unfortunately, it didn't go as much as we planned because, okay, we got the point, but then Sundowns also went on to win their last 2 games. So it was disadvantage to us. We were hoping that Free State, as they were fighting relegation also, they would do us a favor because we knew that we were going to win at Orlando against Polokwane City, but it was unfortunate that Sundowns won that game against Free State 1-0. But it was very, very emotionally breaking for everyone at Pirates not to win, and yet we were so close at winning the cup.
Some people will say that the hallmark of Pirates that season on the negative side was the inability to kill off games, was the inability to say, let's shut it up. We've got what we want from this game. Let's be conservative. Let's be disciplined. Let's shut down shop and walk away with the points. Do you think that's a fair criticism in terms of that season, that there was not that killer instinct to see a result through?
Not necessarily, because in the first half of the season, I think that's where we didn't really do well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of new players that came in, and now there was a lot of players that had been there the last season that were sitting under the bench that were used to the system. So now these new players that came in, they had to adjust to how we played. So it was more difficult for us. If we had won a lot of games in the first half of the season, it was going to be okay. But then going into the second half of the season, we had games that we could win 1-0, 2-1, 3-1. There's a lot of games that we make sure that we were solid. We didn't give any unnecessary goals.
Right.
But for me, it was that game against Cape Town City that changed everything for us, that we had to win, but we drew that game 2-2.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. I mean, are you still keeping up with the league? How are you able to consume it from France? What else? What other football do you take in on a personal level?
Yeah, I do watch a lot of the games on the SuperSport application that I have, because I made a lot of friends and brothers there in South Africa. So we always keep in touch, trying to talk how is everything there. Trying to watch the games and keep up. To see if my team Pirates also can manage to win the league this season, if we're going to finish it.
Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, I mean, Pirates, it's been an incredible upsurge in fortunes with Jay-Z coming in and turning things around. Let's talk about, donning that black and white jersey when it's up against like Kaizer Chiefs in the derby. How different is the derby, in terms of, all the other games in the local calendar? Of course, when you guys would play Bits, it's a big game. When you guys play Sundowns, it's a big game. But nothing beats playing against Chiefs. Why do you think that is?
Sometimes you can't really tell someone how it feels when you play the derby. It's even beyond that, because I remember when I was young, when I was in Zim, I was still at school, I was watching the derby sometimes. And when you feel the atmosphere, the thousands of supporters that come to support that game. But when you experience the feeling of being part of the Orlando Pirates that is playing against the Kaizer Chiefs. Because for me, I played in 3 derbies and we won 2 and we drew 1. So it was an amazing feeling, because a lot of Kaizer Chiefs supporters, you know how they are, they talk too much. So,
your words, not mine. Your words.
Yeah, they do, because I have a lot of them.
Right. No,
So
they're all upset right now. They want the league to finish. If it was up to them, the league would end today and they'd stay top. But let's see how it pans out. Carry on, sir. Yes.
Yeah, so the feeling is amazing, to being part of the derby, to being part of the greatest atmosphere, to win some of the derbies that I've taken part in. It was the greatest thing that I've ever felt when I was playing in South Africa.
Okay, no, great. Now, you're very versatile as a player, you can play at centre back, left back, centre mid. Which for you is your preferred position and why?
When I was growing up, I always played as a midfielder. But then, sometimes as a player, maybe let's say the coach needs you to assist him in a certain position. I was okay with that as long as I was playing, So even when I remember at Pirates, there was a game that we were playing Baroka. And it was my first appearance for Pirates. And I remember Nyauza getting sick when we were in camp. And then the coaches came to me and said that, can you help us in playing as a centre back in today's game against Baroka? Then I was like, okay, no problem. And we won that game 3-1. So they were happy also with the way we played, because they wanted to build up from the back. So from there, the coaches were like to me, if we ever need to utilize you as a centre back, is it going to be okay with you? Then I said, no problem. If you need my assistance, as long as it's part of the team, I am able and willing to play in that position. But my preferred position was always as a midfielder. Even when I was playing for Zimbabwe, even when I came here, they signed me as a midfielder, not as a defender.
Okay, that makes sense. So what we're going to do now, play a very quick game of, best and worst, right? So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you don't even have to get into detail if you don't want to, but if you want to, you're more than welcome to. So let's start with this one. The best player you've played with at club level?
Oh, guys, come on. That is a very difficult thing.
Should we end with that one? Oh. Should we end with that one? We can end with that one.
We can end with
you can give it some thought. We can end with that one. Okay, cool. This one is the same flavor, but maybe slightly easier because there's no international football for a while, so you won't have to explain yourself for a while. Best player you've played with, national team level.
Okay, at least can I give you 5, guys? Can I give you 5?
Okay. That is the most diplomatic. Cool. Yeah, give me 5. We can go with 5.
There's Knowledge Musona,
Uh-huh.
Kama Billiards,
Mm-hmm.
Kalin Chawapiwa,
Mm-hmm.
Evans Rusike,
Mm-hmm.
Tino Kadewere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's how
Okay.
many? 4?
No, you got 5 there. You got 5 there.
Yeah.
You got
Okay.
5.
Yeah.
Okay. No, nice. Toughest player you faced in club football?
Willard Katsande.
What? Really? Willard is the toughest player you faced in club football? That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a very
That guy, he
interesting
doesn't
one.
mess around. You know him. They don't call him salt and vinegar for nothing.
Yeah, no, for sure. I saw a video of him like looking ready to go, busy working out in his backyard, just
Yeah.
trying to keep fit. So it kind of makes sense. He does have that warrior spirit in him. And then
Yeah.
the toughest player you've played against whilst playing for the national team.
Mohamed Salah.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that makes
In
sense.
Egypt, when they played the AFCON, that guy was on fire.
Yeah.
Especially when they were chanting the Egyptian Pharaoh.
Yeah. It just it gave him fuel to do even better. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. The worst pitch you've played on.
There's this one in Liberia.
Yeah.
Liberia, yeah. We went to play in Liberia. It was like you're playing on rocks. There was like some.
Oh my goodness.
So bad, yeah.
Okay.
But yet they say our country is the worst pitch.
I've been to them. I mean, I watched Zanako and Zesco play, and yes, you've got the artificial pitches at some places. And then yes, you do have like the dry grass at some stadiums.
Yeah.
It is true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then in terms of the best pitch you've played on, maybe this one we can couple with the best stadium that you've walked out onto and been like, wow.
The Paris Stadium, the Parc des Princes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very beautiful, even from the outside.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So it's one of the best stadiums that I've been to.
Okay, nice. And you have some fun memories there, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
And there's a certain Brazilian that you put in your pocket that day.
No, it was a team effort. Obviously, when you win as a team, obviously they're gonna pick out some individuals to say this one did well, but obviously it was a team effort.
No, fair enough. And then your best coach or coaches, you can give me a couple there, if you'd like.
I would give you 3.
Sure.
So there's one from Zim. He worked with me since I was young. It's Patrick Moswe.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, it's our national team coach, Sande Mof Chizambwa.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say there was a coach that coached us at FC Cape Town.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting his name, but Peter de Jong.
Ah.
He was a Dutch coach, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, cool, man. I mean, I know Mr. Chizambwa. I spoke to him when I was busy doing football in Zim all those years ago. So, yeah, okay. That's a good 3 coach list that you've got there, because it obviously means that these people were somewhat important in your development. People would assume that you'd automatically go with the big, more recognizable names, but you're essentially paying homage to guys who helped you get to where you are.
Yeah, because when especially when you are young, there's the process that you have to learn more. Even when I went to Cape Town, meeting that guy also, Peter de Jong, he helped me a lot. Even because I signed with Pirates, it was only 6 months. So that 6 months I had worked with him. So for me to be able to be recognized at that time, it was also because of his huge efforts, because he used to talk to me a lot, so many times. Even though I didn't understand some of the things they said with his accent.
Yes, yeah. But it goes to show that after 6 months, you were able to absorb so much from one person.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, true.
That's incredible. Okay, great. I mean, lastly, this one, the comparisons, I have to ask you, to Yaya Toure. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you see yourself in the same mold? And obviously for you, to get half of his career would be amazing. But yeah, what do you make of those comparisons?
It started with like some people from Zim. And when Mr. Aero Dix signed me from Zimbabwe to FC Cape Town, he wrote in the newspapers that we have the next year at all. Because of my stature, how I was bigger than most of the players that I used to play with in my age group.
Right.
And I used to also run with the ball, go with the ball, like what Yaya used to do. So when they came and then they just said, we have it the next year. But for me, even if I would get to the level that he was, still you will forever be one of the best players that have played in Europe and Africa.
Nah, great. Marshal, Nyasha Munetsi, thank you so much for your time, brother. We really appreciate it. We hope you can get back to your passion of playing football as soon as possible once everything is safe to do so. We're all rooting for you on the southern tip here of the African continent. Thank you once again. Stay safe, stay indoors, stay healthy.
Thank you, guys. And I just want to say also to everyone who might be listening, and we must help each other to stop this pandemic. We should try social distancing, because for us, we didn't take it seriously here in Europe. By the time we wanted to do so, a lot of lives have been lost. So it's for us also to help the doctors and nurses. Some of them are even dying trying to save lives, to make sure that everything is back to normal as soon as possible. But thank you guys for having me also on the show.